7 days in the coldest place on earth.
Right now I'm in a place where temperatures can drop as low as minus 71.2 degrees Celsius. And it's so cold here that your lips can freeze through your food within a few seconds.
Oh, is it painful? Oh. Inside.
Frostbite here can set in within minutes. And if you don't move for a couple of hours, you will freeze to death.
Damn.
How many minutes outside, naked, without clothes, can you survive?
Your limbs, most likely, the best they can handle in this cold is probably 20 minutes before you will have to get them amputated.
Yes, that's absolutely necessary in this cold, because in my previous video about Yakutsk, I got frostbite
Mirror, how you
4
doing?
times within just a few minutes. And that made me wonder, how do people survive in these extreme cold conditions with more basic lifestyles? So first I'm taking a car ride of about 18 hours to a very remote village without modern facilities. And the end goal of this, meeting a man who has been living alone for 40 years in the most remote part of this region.
Imagine
I
lost my streak again. I'm sorry.
What would happen if the car breaks down right here?
We not survive.
Did you know that many people have died simply because their car broke down during the journey? So if your car has even a small issue and the engine won't start, eventually the engine oil can freeze within 20 minutes. And if the engine oil freezes, the car becomes completely unusable.
I'm sorry, my OBS was crashing yesterday, bro.
And if you're on a remote road, which happens very quickly,
it just kept crashing,
so fast, you simply freeze to death.
What's the name? The car.
Froze.
It's completely frozen, like you cannot... Well, this is what hypothetically happens to a person when you sit in the cold for several hours without warmth or movement.
Would y'all go here for 48 hours? In the coldest place in the world for 48 hours?
Arrived in a small town called Sunta, and the very first thing we had to do was park the car in a heated garage. Otherwise it would freeze solid and break down. Because right now it's already minus 48 degrees. And I can tell you this, it's only going to get colder and colder.
So it's a double system because it's too cold right now. It's electricity plus the wood.
In Suntar, the town relies on a central coal-fired heating system, where the heat produced is carried to the homes through above-ground pipes, ensuring that the residents at least have a basic level of warmth. Right now I'm with a farmer who keeps his own horses, and those horses can survive temperatures as low as minus 70 degrees. And they are actually the only species in Yakutsk that can live independently without human help, unlike cows. Over hundreds of thousands of years, these horses have perfectly adapted to the extreme Siberian climate. Their shorter legs and compact bodies help minimize heat loss, keeping warmth close to their core.
This is a tribe, and a tribe has only one male. All the others are female. They are used to give birth. Right, one father, 8 mothers.
The mares regularly give birth to foals, and during especially harsh winters, some of these young horses are traditionally used as a source of food by farming families in Yakutsk.
So this is horse meat, and it's like deeply frozen. That's how they preserve it and kill the parasites. From a cow?
Horse.
Holy moly.
It's pretty crazy to think that this is their only meat source for the whole winter, and their freezer for food is outside instead of inside, what we're normally used to.
Try it.
Oh, I get the reflex.
Take a close look at these hands. When I first saw it, I thought there was something wrong with it, so I asked about it.
Oh, he got lost actually when he was in first grade in school in the winter. A random hunter found him at night, and his hand was frozen. Like he had frostbites, and now his hand is closed.
Yeah, what?
So he left home at 9 in the morning. He was only found deep at night, so he spent almost an entire clock outside.
The longer I look at this man, the more it becomes clear that his body as a local has been shaped to survive the brutal cold. Also, his nose barely pops out compared to my nose, which prevents, of course, frostbite hitting his nose and the wind making it even colder. And in this region, sunlight is constantly reflecting off the snow and ice, and his eyes have been adapted to it. If you look closely, you can see they are less round, with an extra fold of skin that helps filter the harsh light and prevents snow blindness.
What is the temperature today?
Minus 53.
That's fucked up.
I almost lost my brother while I pee, you know?
Why? What happened?
Bro, imagine you can't. Bro, I ain't gonna go. I would never leave the crib.
We're now heading to an even more
I would never
remote
leave at
village,
night.
which means that there won't be a supermarket anymore. So we stopped by this local store to stock up on food for the coming week. And one thing that stood out to me immediately is that almost all food is
$24. You trying to fix yours? Oh, it's some of these is just games and shit, music. Yeah.
heavily processed, because crops of course can hardly grow here. So nearly everything has to be imported.
So Russia has some kind of sanctions about brands?
All the brands have left Russia officially, so we have now imported from our Asian friends Coca-Cola.
Since 2022, all the European brands have left Russia because of the war.
Bro, imagine having to do truck deliveries in this motherfucking country. Nigga, imagine being the truck drivers. Ain't gonna lie, let you get a flat tire. Ooh wee. Hey, yo, I come tell you guys. Like that'd be.
Alright, this is the final outfit. I'm wearing like 25 layers, I don't know.
If I gotta put that much clothes on, just go outside, bro. Guess what? I'm going home.
I had to make sure I didn't get any frostbite because there is no hospital nearby here. And it's crazy to think that many years ago, people had to dress like this and hunt for themselves just to survive in these extreme conditions. And what's even more fascinating is that here in this remote village, they still practice some of those ancient techniques to get by and live a normal life. And I am about to show you some of those processes.
Give me some goggles
going to
with a scarf put on my
chop
face.
ice cubes out of the lake and they melt it, therefore they can drink it when they warm it up in their homes. They live like in a really simple way. It's pretty insane for me to see how much effort people have to put in just to get some water. Because in the Netherlands where I live, you simply turn on the tap and that's it. But here you have to saw some blocks of ice out of a frozen river, break them loose, and just like that you end up with a few chunks of ice that you can later melt at home for water. How many times a week do you need to do this?
Күн бирдеген авт.
Normally, the residents devote an entire day to cutting and loosening blocks of ice from the river, and then they pile them up in large quantities in their backyard.
And in the backyard we have what is called an ice bed, and on an ice bed you have like a whole huge pile of ice, and normally you would bring in like 3-4 blocks of ice every day for it to melt in the barrel.
The local quickly made a hole in the ice so that the water returns to the river level and the gap is filled.
Oh no, look at your lens.
Oh, it's completely frozen.
It is crazy to see that every single drop of water turns into ice within a couple of seconds. Right now I'm going to do some experiments that showcase just how extremely cold it is here. And remember, the stuff you're going to see is only possible in -40, -50 degrees.
How long you had to sit right there?
It doesn't move. It will not move. 3, 2, 1. So this is what happens when you lay your fruits outside in -50. That's also the reason why no fruits or vegetables grows here in the wild in the winter. This one actually hurts.
That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get. Stop playing. That's what you get. That's what you get.
Inside.
Don't touch, don't touch. Водой. No, don't touch. Don't touch, please. Don't
They
touch.
keep saying don't
With this
touch, you
cold,
keep
it's
yanking it.
extremely dangerous to press your tongue against a deeply frozen object because it can easily stick to it, and if you're not careful enough, you can really damage yourself. We just arrived at
Trying
a
to rip his
primary
song
school,
off.
and this school only has 3 students, which actually makes sense since there are only 58 people living in this small village.
Землю, однако, у нас скоро появились поля, луга, реки и горы, которые...
They gonna grow up and like, bro, I'm not doing this shit no, I'm leaving. They be like, no, stay, nigga. Fuck no. Bro, if I was little kids, I would leave. Soon as I get old enough, I don't know where I'm going. But I'm going somewhere that's warm.
This is a graduation photo of just 3 people from 2024. How are the teachers
How the fuck do y'all
getting
want me to
paid if
live
only
here? I'm
3
leaving.
students exist here.
So the salary here is calculated not through the number of students you have,
But would I visit?
rather
Yes.
by the number of hours.
Living?
the teacher
No.
gets
You got
each class.
2
How do the
days.
kids feel when they're so isolated? There are only 3 kids.
So there's only elementary school here, right? You stay till the 4th grade. After the 4th grade, you have to go to the boarding school in the nearing village. And when they go there, her child personally was very happy because like it was like many children, many opportunities, many things to do. But while studying here, like there was no many complaints.
How many years do you live here?
72 years he's been living in this.
72 years. That's like your lifetime. This man has lived here his entire life and he
Crazy.
works as a farmer, managing a large
Crazy.
number of cows. Do you shower?
По-якутски надо научиться. Ну, баня есть.
He has a sauna.
Потом.
So he
Spara.
doesn't shower.
Nobody showers here. Like there are no showers. There are only saunas.
How do you clean?
In a sauna.
Yeah, people here shower in a sauna simply because it's about -50 degrees outside and running water is just not possible. Pipes, for example, would immediately freeze. And that's why households in these remote villages don't have a regular shower and instead they use a banya. And now let's take a look at the toilet situation. How do they poop here in this cult?
Dig a hole.
So first, most of the toilets are outside of the house because there's no plumbing system to flush waste away from your home. So everything goes into a pit like this. They dig a hole about 2 meters deep and throughout the winter, everyone uses it. And over time, the waste can build up to nearly a meter high. Luckily, because everything is completely frozen, it doesn't smell. And you know what else doesn't smell? The
No.
local people.
No.
Don't sweat.
Yeah.
2, 3.
Oh, you don't sweat?
У нас нет такого, ни запаха, нет вообще.
Yakutians don't smell.
No.
I wear this t-shirt for almost 1 week. You can smell. It don't have smell.
You don't smell.
Yeah.
I only smell the shirt.
All Yakutian people don't have smells. Really.
What? You don't smell? What?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I do smell. Most people in Siberia naturally don't have body odor. This is because their sweat contains less fat, which means bacteria can't
No.
produce strong smells. This trait developed
No.
thousands of years ago
No.
in cold environments,
Can't
where
do it.
sweating less and having cleaner skin was an advantage for survival. In wintertime, every resident gathers firewood and burns it inside their home to stay warm. It acts as a kind of central heating system. The heat circulates through the house before escaping through the chimney, warming the entire space. To keep it comfortable, this process needs to be repeated around 5 or 6 times a day, making it possible to live well in a simple village like here. So right now they are like making holes into this lake
so the cows can drink later on.
We're heading over to the cows now, and I'm genuinely curious how anyone manages to keep cattle in temperatures as low as -50. So every morning the cows leave the barn and make their way to the river, where the farmer has cut a hole in the ice for them to drink. And they have to keep moving because cows struggle to cope with such extreme cold. In fact, these animals are completely dependent on humans to survive. They wouldn't last in the wild under these conditions. And so within about 5 minutes they are already heading back inside.
Did you notice it's very warm inside?
Yeah, in the stall.
Yeah. In the fall, before the first real cold starts, you take the poop of the cows and you just use it as a clay to isolate it completely from any cold. And as you can see, there's no heating inside.
Nothing.
It's very warm.
How is it possible?
The isolation is way too good.
For just 3 months of the year, they eat grass outside that naturally grows here. But for the remaining 9 months, they rely entirely on the hay the farmer has prepared for them. And believe me, it takes a huge amount of effort to gather and store enough hay to feed this many cows.
It's a damn month winter. Man.
During the Second World War, the biggest loss in terms of humans was on Soviet Union, insanely a lot. Because so many people were sent out to the war, all the food supplies were sent to the war zone, right? And people here had problems with starving. His grandparents had 11 children, and because it was during the war times, 7 of them died out of starvation. The only way to get some food was fishing, right? And they would listen if he's carrying any fish or something, and they were no fish, no fish, no fish. So 7 of them died out of starvation. 2 of them died in the war zone. They went to the war zone and died. And only one of them, his mother, remained alive. Out of the 11 children his grandparents had.
In the past, food scarcity combined with extreme cold created a deadly reality. And out of pure necessity, people began preparing unusual dishes. Things most people wouldn't normally think of eating.
Horse feet.
This is actually the nose of a moose. And in a culture shaped by survival, nearly every part of an animal is seen as valuable and used for food.
Yeah, I try?
Yep. But it's way too chewy, I'm telling you.
I don't wanna
insult
him, but it's like a 3. I prefer to eat just a normal meal.
And as if this wasn't enough, I even ended up trying a piece of bone. Specifically, bone marrow, which is found inside the bone and is said to be highly nutritious. These people really make use of every part of the animal, wasting absolutely nothing.
It doesn't taste like anything. It's just nothing.
Right now we're going to the guy who lives 40 years alone in this cold. We've brought 30 liters of extra fuel and we are gonna drive on a frozen lake. We've covered around 1800 kilometers from our starting point. And trust me, after sitting that long, you really start to feel it in your ass. And just 15 minutes into the drive, we spot something unusual in the middle of the lake. A hole in the ice. Open water formed by immense pressure from below. And this in temperatures around -50 degrees. These openings are known as polinias. The water doesn't freeze here, and because of the extreme temperature difference, it even starts to steam. But as remarkable as it looks, it's extremely dangerous. We're driving for hours across this frozen surface, and if you get too close to one of these openings, the ice can break and you'll fall straight through.
Any update?
No, we're trying to find who lives here. Just read the signs. We do have the last name of the guy, but the rest of the initials does not match. But everything else matches. The guy said there will be a difficult slope. He said I will prepare a garage. There's a garage. So everything else matches, except there's no guy.
Okay, so you have to keep this in mind. We're stranded in the middle of nowhere, and the car needs to be turned on 24/7. So right now, we're feeling the pressure. We're deep out here in this remote area with a limited amount of fuel, and it's slowly starting to get dark. And if we don't find this man tonight, things could quickly become really dangerous for us. So we even sent up the drone, scanning for small plumes of smoke, which is of course a sign of heat and life.
I don't think there is a chimney, you cannot see the cloud.
And just to put things into perspective, it's -50 degrees out here. So cold that even my drone eventually stopped working. So we drove back as far as we had to until we got just a bit of signal again. And then, on the very last bar of reception,
this came through.
Oh yes, Oh, it's a abandoned village here. You see, it's very big, and here live this person alone. Here.
Frank. Nice to meet you, bro. Nederlanden. Russia. Привет, как дела?
What can give me?
What is
Frank. Before we could go inside, we first had to park the car in a heated garage. Otherwise, it simply wouldn't survive the cold.
Holy fuck.
You were in local TV.
Me?
Yeah.
I was on local TV?
On the TV of this region.
Why?
I saw it on the TV.
Really?
And like
Why? You know, I'm just a guy from the Netherlands.
he said it was similar to the arrival of the president.
For how many years is he living here alone?
Oh, I tell you.
His entire life here.
In this village?
He was born here, yeah, and he's building it. But for the past 40 years, he's the only one who's been spending winters here alone.
So you telling me all these years you've been up by yourself, nobody to talk to, conversate with, play the game with, you just felt it to live on your own? This is a real nigga right here. You don't need nobody or nothing to keep yourself entertained nor live. You get what I'm saying? Real nigga right here. Let something pop
all his
off.
family
Hey,
is buried here. Whenever
don't
he
matter.
goes
I've
to
been
like
living.
Santa
I've been
or
doing this
somewhere
already.
to stay there. Like he cannot be there for long because every night he has dreams of his relatives saying to him, "Go back home, like come here," and like that's why he keeps coming. He cannot live there peacefully because every night he has dreams of his gone relatives telling him to come back here.
What?
He actually has a wife.
Oh, where's she?
Yeah, but she doesn't want to live isolated. She lives in the village. Has 10 grandsons, more than 10.
I'm really interested in your gun and how you shoot with it and stuff. Like which gun do you use and which like bullet?
He will let you shoot with a gun tomorrow morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're heading out on a hunt with him, and I might even get the chance to shoot with his rifles. But for now, we're preparing the snowmobile
No, you
in his
get
garage
bullets.
to make
Where you
sure
get your bullets
everything
from?
runs smoothly tomorrow. We start by adjusting the fuel, mixing in a bit of oil so it performs better in minus 50 degrees and helps prevent starting issues. Then we seal off the front with insulation foil so the inside of the snowmobile doesn't freeze and get damaged.
So he says, not even like experienced hunters want to come to this place at this time of the year, at this season. He said, and a random guy from the Netherlands decided to do that, which is thank you for, and that's why he shook your hand.
Oh. You're really brave.
Well, I just sat in the car and just waited. But okay.
But it's a lot of sitting in the car and a lot of waiting. Yeah, he says be like very cautious to cover everything you have because tomorrow is a cold day. Yeah, and don't worry.
How cold?
Negative 45 at least.
Alright, we're gonna hunt in like 1 or 2 hours in minus 50, as you can see behind me. What am I gonna do with my life?
Luckily we do have a walkie-talkie system, because out here in this remote area there's no phone signal at all. Okay, so I'm putting on every layer I have, because with the wind it feels twice as cold, from minus 50 down to minus 100 degrees, purely because of the wind.
You need the goggles, you forget the goggles.
He says when you're on a snowmobile, the feeling of the temperature doubles. Therefore, if it's negative 40 tomorrow,
Naya, how you doing?
Like when you're on a snowmobile, it might feel like negative 80. So you have to really, really dress up.
Wolf, stay here this night. Yeah. Yes. Wolf, sit down.
Today we're using traps I spotted yesterday in a garage. We are going to check about 6 of them, and hopefully one of them has caught something, maybe even a wolf.
What's your plan for the day?
My lens is constantly freezing.
The hunter places traps exactly along the paths wolves usually take. Then he covers it with a little bit of snow, making it look like nothing was ever there. And after a few days, you come back, and this is what you could find.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Got a fox.
People here don't use these traps without a reason.
He
because
survived the
hunting
7 days in the
wintertime
coldest
is extremely
place in the
dangerous.
world.
If you get lost or your snowmobile breaks down, you could easily freeze to death. So instead, they set traps around their area, a more passive but safer way to secure food.
What the hell is that?
They use this weapon for hunting mooses, bears, wolves, like for really big dangerous animals where you cannot fuck up.
Like, bro,
that's why you need to...
Where's they getting their guns from? Who's going out there delivering guns and making those bullets for them? Or they go hours out the way to buy their guns and break them back?
A fucking rifle for it and not like a handgun or...
Faster, faster!
I have some tacos.
For a moment, I honestly thought I had gone deaf. That's how loud a military-grade weapon is. We're now standing in one of the 20 abandoned houses in this village, a place where members of his family once lived.
It was a brother of his dad, so his uncle.
And of course the ones that he keeps dreaming about, making him live here for 40 years alone.
Crazy.
How many people have died because of the cold that he knows personally in this village?
His mother's brother had a child. When he returned from the army, there wasn't a connection, so they didn't know he was coming that day. So he came and the door was locked, and he died out of cold right in front of that door.
That's fucked up. Holy shit. That's like reality here. If you cannot go inside and warm, you're dead.
Yeah,
it's over.
In a big city, it wouldn't be a problem. And in modern world, it wouldn't be a problem.
And I guess this is how the journey ends, with one
Damn,
clear
Dad, 'cause he
realization,
couldn't get in the
just how
crib.
unforgiving the cold truly is, especially in remote places like this.
And like, I would never in my life live in such a place like these, my nigga. Once it get too cold for my liking consecutively, I'm gone.